because collectively we are the keepers of the master narrative that tells the story of who we are as Americans, who we are as regions, who we are as states, and who we are as culture. And all of it is wrapped up, tied up, and tangled up into the journey we will share with those who will listen on our watch. I suggest to you that there is treasure to be found in that common ground. How do we move toward a story that is responsible to the historical evidence available, but also one that everyone can find relevant in some fundamental way? Because I think that relevancy is also where treasure resides. The treasures we should all be mining for all we're worth. It is the treasure of human stories, of human engagement in a world that is overrun with impersonal communication that continues to fascinate, engage, and inspire. I could argue that's what these television reality shows are about. They're about an audience that wants to see someone who looks like them and acts like them. Someone imperfect, marginally educated, been on a diet most of their lives, in need of a makeover, having children that drive them crazy, and still driving a car that burns more oil than gas. When our children, our new citizens, and our increasingly diverse public stand on the sites of our museums and our educational institutions, we should all leave, or they should all leave, with a greater understanding of the puzzle that is America and how they fit. You know, museums are calling themselves everything: freedom centers, constitution centers, living farms, and redefining themselves in a variety of ways. All of them are struggling to make their institutions viable, which means keeping heads in bids, feet on the farm, doors open, and most importantly, money in the bank. Never before has there been such a move to save so many museums, and never have so many museums been in danger of closing their doors. Recently, an organization called Reach Advisor, a marketing and research firm out of Slingerlands, New York, embarked on a series of conversations with museum professionals on the issues of museum and family audiences, especially at historic sites and historic museums. Here's what they said. And mind you, this was before our most recent economic woes. They said history museums and historic sites show the lowest popularity among other types of museums, including science-based museums, children's museums, natural history museums, art museums, botanical gardens, and arboretums. Only 31% of audiences tested visited historic sites, and 23% visited museums. Families are choosing to visit other museum types, science museums, natural history, children's museums, etc., over history sites and history museums, even when their children are very young. Grandparents are far more likely to visit history-based museums than parents. Historic sites were most popular with Caucasians, with nearly a third of that population visiting them. A little over 1/4 of the population of Hispanics and African Americans visit historic sites. Asian Americans are the least likely of all populations measured to visit, with just over a fifth reporting attendance. History museums had less attendance than historic sites, and African Americans and Hispanic museum goers are the most likely to visit history museums than other types. Not even a fifth of Asian Americans visit, but this discrepancy may be because the Asian population is more dense in the West Coast, or on the West Coast, than elsewhere in the country, and that is the region that has the lowest density of history-based museums than other regions of the country. Well, it looks as if, and this is surprisingly, finally, no surprise, I guess, museum visitation increases with education and income. But this is not true for history-based museums. Visitation actually peaked when parents only had some college. Clearly, history-based museums and sites are struggling to reach family audiences and minority. What are they still craving? Audiences are craving authentic, hands-on, interactive experiences for families. 50 sites, sites where history, it really happened, are uniquely positioned to create authentic experiences in ways that many other museum types cannot. History museums have one-of-a-kind objects that can fascinate and inspire, but they must be presented in an active, engaging, and participatory way. I would argue that's what museums do best. They make connections with people, and they remind, they celebrate, they challenge, and yes, they demand that we understand our past, realize the challenges of our present, and help us chart a future, a course for our future. But making these connections is not easy. At the Smithsonian, as you know, we are in the process of conceptualizing and planning and building, as Elaine told you, the first African-American museum on the National Mall. This was an idea that had its genesis at the beginning of the 20th century, somewhere around 1913. By the time the museum is scheduled to open in 2015, it will have been a dream that has taken over 85 years to realize. Once we are finished building it and mounting the exhibitions that will be housed in it, research indicates we will welcome 2.5 to 3 million visitors there a year. They will come from every state in the Union as well as from abroad. 150 to 200,000 of them will be school children and will represent 20% of our visiting population. 35% will be from the D.C. area. 45% will be tourists from outside of the area. Between 25 and 30% will be African American, and over 40% will come on the weekends. In fact, on peak days in the spring, we predict that we will have over 10,000 visitors in the building in one day. Now, our director, Lonnie Bunch, has said the museum will stand on 4 pillars. He said we will explore African-American culture, we will demonstrate how central African-American history is to American history, we will place the African-American experience in the context of the African diaspora, and we will be a place of collaboration, discussion, and engagement. Now, I tell my staff, if all of this does not scare the bejesus out of you, you may be in the wrong place. In addition to the sheer scope of the museum, once it is done, we will claim to have successfully presented one of the most complex, dynamic, and controversial stories there is. And our goal is to tell it in ways that stimulate discussion, engages our audiences on issues of race, as well as fostering a spirit of healing and reconciliation. Look, I've been on the job for 6 months, and the number of gray hairs on my head and in my beard have dramatically increased. We are finding ourselves in the unenviable position of having to build the ship and sail it at the same time. It is a daunting task. And as our director often says, it's the hardest job you'll ever love. But we must not lose sight of that treasure